What is up, guys? We are going to talk about today the differences between the 401k and an infinite banking policy, a properly structured whole life insurance policy. So, my name is Devin Burr, Mr. Burr. You might know me from TikTok or Instagram, but I appreciate you guys stopping by and let's jump right into it. I'm going to try to give you guys as much value as possible, and you're probably going to have questions. So when you have those, go ahead and write your questions in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to answer those as quickly as possible. So first and foremost, let's talk about a 401k. The 401k, you have limits on how much you can contribute. And those limits are $20,500 as of 2023 when I'm recording this video. Now, you can put in more if you're over the age of 50. At 50, you can put in 30,000 a year. So that's the first thing. There are limits to how much you can put in. Now, with a properly structured policy, you don't have that kind of thing. You can put in as much as you want if you're approved. So if you're trying to put in $100,000 a year, you can't do that unless your income justifies the amount. So if you're making 50,000 a year, they're not going to approve you to put in 100,000 a year. Generally speaking, you can put in about 50% of your gross income. There's some compensating factors such as net worth and things like that. But for a basic rule of thumb, if you're making 200 grand a year, you can put in $100,000 a year into a policy. If you're making 2 million a year, you can put in $1 million a year, giving you more money at retirement age than a 401k would yield you. So that's the first thing. There are limits in place with the 401k. The second thing we're going to talk about is taxes. Okay. One of the big benefits to a 401k is that you get to defer your taxes. So you get to put in that 20,500 and not pay taxes on it. Here's the thing though, that seems like a benefit. It's actually not. If you don't pay taxes now and you elect to pay them later, you're electing to pay taxes when they're probably going to be higher. See, taxes, they don't go down. Taxes generally go up. And if you're not paying taxes now and you're deciding to pay them in 20, 30 years, when you start drawing from your 401k, you're paying taxes at a higher amount, most likely, and you're paying taxes on the harvest. You see, you want to pay taxes on the seed, and then you want it to grow into a harvest tax-free. So that's a 401k. With a properly structured policy, you pay taxes now. So you fund your policy, whatever you decide as far as the amount goes, with post-tax dollars. And then all of the money grows 100% tax-free. So you're paying taxes now when they're probably the lowest they'll ever be, and you're never paying them again. So that's another thing that tells you right there that infinite banking and properly structured policies is far superior to a 401k. The next thing is, again, about taxes. So with a 401k, your money is being invested into the market, whether it be an index or some sort of fund, whatever it might be. And because of that, you should be taxed at capital gains rates, long-term capital gains rates, which long-term capital gains, I believe right now is 20%. So when you go to use your 401k, here's the thing, you're not taxed at capital gains rates. You are taxed at earned income rates, which is higher than capital gain rates. So that doesn't make sense. Like, you're taxed on something incorrectly, and you're taxed most likely at a higher amount because taxes go up, they don't go down. Okay, so with a properly structured policy, that's a moot point because you never pay taxes on your gains. You pay taxes when the money goes in, you never pay them again after that. Okay. Another thing about the 401k, is it is, again, tied to markets. Markets don't always go up. Markets go up, they go down, they stay level. And most people say, oh, well, it's an average of 8% over the last however many years in the stock market, which is true. However, actual gains are different than average gains. Think about this. If you lose 50% in your 401k, let's say you've got $100,000 and you lose 50%, that means you're down to $50,000, right? Just to get back to where you started, $100,000, you have to make a 100% gain. So average is not the same as actual, okay? So that being said, again, infinite banking and a properly structured policy is better because there's no losses ever. The policies are guaranteed to grow 100% tax-free. And I repeat, guaranteed. Right now, as I'm recording this video in February of 2023, the guaranteed growth is 3.25. It'll never go below that. You'll also be earning dividends if it's with a mutually owned company. So the dividend adds to the 3.25. The dividend is just not guaranteed. However, the policies that I write policies with have paid dividends every single year for over 100 years. So they're not guaranteed, but if they've paid them through the Great Depression, through World War I, World War II, the meltdown of 08, COVID, they're probably going to keep paying them. So that's the thing with infinite banking, is that your money just continues to compound and grow. It never goes down. In a 401k, it goes up, it goes down, then it's got to go up again, and then it goes down. So that right there is in favor of properly structured policies. Now, the next thing is control. Think about this. Control gives you less risk. If you're driving your car and your brakes go out, you lose control of stopping your car. And that means that your risk of crashing goes up. So it's the same thing with money. If you don't have control of it, your risk of losing it and your risk of obviously doing what you want goes up. So think about a 401k. You have a penalty if you use the money, right? It's a 10% penalty if you use that money. With a properly structured policy, there's no penalty. You can use the money whenever you want, for whatever you want, no questions asked. If you want to use money, you get money. That is contractually guaranteed. Zero penalties, okay? With a 401k, you can borrow money from it, but you're limited. There's $50,000 or 50%, whichever is greater. So you're limited. And if you do that, you're removing that 50,000 from the market, so it's no longer growing. With a properly structured policy, you can borrow against as much as you want. If you've got $5 million in cash value, you can use every last penny of it, and you're not removing that money from your policy, so it continues to compound and grow. You're borrowing against it. So your money continues to compound, even though you're using it at the same time. So again, that lets you know a 401k is obsolete when it comes to infinite banking. Control, access, there's no penalties. Now, I would say really the biggest thing with the differences between the two is that whole life insurance has stood the test of time. It's been, the first policies were written in the 1700s. So whole life has been around for a very long time. It is tried and true. It is tested and time tested. and the companies have been around for hundreds of years. Compare that to a 401k. A 401k just came about. Gosh, I forget the exact time. I believe it was 1960 something, 1967, 68. I could be wrong on exactly when that is, but it basically came about because people, I guess the feds and the government, they wanted people to invest in the markets. They wanted people to do that. So what better way to do it than make an incentive, a qualified plan with your employer? So it hasn't stood the test of time. It's kind of an experiment that's going on right now. And if you think about it, if it started back in, let's say, the 60s, right? And I should take that back. I believe it was the 70s. But regardless, if it was in the 70s, which I believe when it was, you've got really the first group of people starting to use their 401ks, because if it came around in the 70s, they started putting into it. Let's say they were 20 years old in 1973. That was 50 years ago, right? So you're just now getting the first wave of people using their 401ks as they were designed. And I can speak from not experience, but from viewing my father. He had a 401k. He's had it for as long as I've been alive. And he's stressed out right now. Last year, the markets have fallen like crazy. His 401k has fallen like crazy. He can't retire right now. He doesn't have enough money to do it. He is 67 years old and he's still working. He works in heating and air conditioning. So he's getting up on roofs in Phoenix, Arizona, sweating his butt off, and he can't retire because his 401k has taken a huge, huge hit. That does not happen with policies. They only go up. That's the only thing they do because they are guaranteed to do that. So I hope you guys got some value from this video. Pretty quick one. Just wanted to, again, highlight the differences between a 401k and an infinite banking policy. If you guys got value from this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone that you believe will get value from it as well. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that you can get notified whenever I put these videos out. If you guys have been following me for a while, you probably noticed that I've got a pretty gnarly little beard going on right now. I've been growing it out since December, and I don't know, I just decided to do something different. But I appreciate all you guys. I love you guys. Until next time,